Did they make
No,
contact?
no. It's pretty close, but this is going to be a drag race.
Right Look there. At this.
Moves him to win it. Carl Edwards bump and dump and run.
The bump and run.
There it is.
Gordon underneath to the lead. 2 laps to go.
Didn't mean to really turn around. Meant to rally his cage up.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the Bump and Run podcast. I'm your host, Michael Z. White, joined by my two best friends, Matt, the Stat Man Reilly, and Eric, Daytona Ron. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys had a Kyle Larson championship type of weekend. He was the big Cup Series champion down there in Phoenix. And we'll break it all down for you. But first, make sure you like, share, subscribe to the podcast. Available every Monday night. Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, all those. And then every Tuesday morning on YouTube. Except, well, now that the season's over, I think we're going to go to every other week. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell on YouTube. That way you get notified when we upload a new video and whatnot. Because we're going to keep it going throughout the off season. But we're going to take a little break in between. Keep you updated with all the news. But it's been a long season and we need a little breather. But boys, how was your weekend?
Fantastic. We had a championship weekend.
Oh, yeah. Action-packed. I was all NASCAR all weekend, except for Friday. I worked Friday and I worked at a hockey game Friday. But how about you, Eric? What were you doing this weekend? I think you were burning some stuff. You burned couches.
Oh, no, I wasn't burning couches. Just a big old stack of pallets. You know, really getting that enjoyment out of some of these cooler nights here in Pennsylvania. It's now, I officially call it campfire season, where, you know, it's nice in the summer. Yeah, beers around a fire, but it's too hot. And look,
oh, yeah.
Now is the time you want to have these campfires and sip on a dirty old Jim Beam there and have yourself a night. So that was Friday. Then Saturday, just watch the race, and that was pretty exciting there, that Xfinity finish, and
oh yeah,
you know, obviously, championship Sunday, and it was an exciting Sunday to start. Like once football season starts, it's football and then the race. So it was definitely an action-filled championship Sunday.
How about you, Matt? What were you up to this weekend?
I had what did I do Friday night? Stayed home with the wife. We watched a movie, I think. I don't remember what we watched, so it must not have been that great.
That's because you're watching the truck race on your iPad at the same time.
That's exactly what I was doing. Yeah, you know the secret. Yeah, I have it off to the side, and she's like, well, what just happened? And I'm like, oh, what? Like in the race or what? She's like, oh, no, in the movie. I'm like, oh, I have no idea. I've been watching the race on the tablet. But Saturday I went hunting, and to kind of mirror what Eric said, it is campfire season. So I stopped up our buddy Andre's house to get my bow dialed in a little bit before I got out into the woods. And it was nice out. Like, and when I say nice, it was probably only 45, 50 degrees, but in the sun, it felt good. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yo, do you have your big camo jacket for when you get in the woods? And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know if I'm going to bring it in. You know, it's beautiful out. He's like, dude, trust me. Like, you're going to want to bring that in there.
Yeah. And
he was right. Like, I got in there, got all set up. And then like, once you get done, like setting up and you settle in, like it got cold. So yeah, it's definitely campfire season. And real quick, speaking of Andre, I know he doesn't listen to the show, but he shot a monster buck this week. So congratulations to him. It was a beautiful deer. So hopefully I'm next. No such luck on Saturday though.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the cold or the woods, so I don't hunt bucks. But I did get myself a buck on Big Buck Hunter Marksman Edition on my phone. I downloaded that yesterday. I was getting the spirit with everybody. I got a couple 10-pointers on the old digital one. That was some fun. I was working a hockey game on Friday, so I got to listen to the MRN broadcast of the truck race. I was filming a hockey game. And I missed a couple plays on the ice, but I was hearing all the action in my ear, and it sounded like a great truck race. Do you guys want to jump right into the race weekend? And I guess we'll take care of a little news action first. Kind of a light week in news, as they have been the past couple of weeks. One big story out of Martinsville last week: Kyle Busch will be required to complete sensitivity training after calling Brad Keselowski the R word in a post-race interview. after Martinsville. Similar thing happened to Haley Deegan during a live stream a couple months ago. She also used that word. She went through sensitivity training. So NASCAR keeping it by the book for Kyle Busch. Starcom Racing had their final race yesterday. It's confirmed they sold their charter. They didn't confirm to who, but the rumors for months now is it's going over to Spire Motorsports, who seem to be collecting charters and then leasing them out. Seems to be a pretty good business for them over there at Spire.
It sounds like I'm not like too in tune with the whole charter system, just because to me it's confusing. But
yeah,
that sounds like a good business model.
It sounds like another G word. It sounds like a greasy business.
It is. It's one of those greasy palm deals. But you want to what? The crazy thing, I don't know if you guys really knew much about Spire Motorsports and the Spire Charter story for the last couple of years, but Spire started as like a talent agency for race drivers and stuff. There's a lot of guys under them, and then of course they're running their car. The 77 and stuff with Ross Chastain, a bunch of various other guys, Garrett Smithley, basically all the people that you'd see run for Rick Ware Racing. Well, a couple of years ago, I forget whose charter was for sale, but they bought it with the intentions of like selling it off, but nobody wanted to buy it. So they're like, all right, I guess we'll hold on to it. And that's where the Corey LaJoie number 7 team kind of came from. And it seemed to have as increased in price, especially now that there's more people trying to get charters for new teams and stuff. So Spire really invested at the perfect time for them, and it seems like they're liking that business model. So they keep pumping them up, kind of like Rick Ware. Rick Ware leases a bunch of his charters and stuff too. We discussed in the past the whole Petty Ware thing and everything like that.
Well, this is a way to NASCAR it's kind of out of the NFL's playbook in a way, like with the owners. Jerry Jones bought the Dallas Cowboys for like $2 billion, and now he's worth like $8 billion, the team. So it's like it's an investment, and like I don't know if it should be legal. You know what I mean? It seems like kind of like a greasy thing to do. Like if you have a charter, I feel like you should be the one to use it. Like I don't know, it's become like a business now, and like. Once again, I know I don't want to go on a long rant here, but, once again, like, I think it ruins these small market teams that, they want to get a charter, but now guess what? Now that instead of a sponsorship not want them, now they got to pay and spend all this money for just a charter. Like, I don't know. I think it's going to go down a real bad road here. Well, if they become worth more and more and more and more and more, which
then you end up pricing people out of the sport. Here's the thing, the way I see it and the way I kind of understand charters, the problem is no one really knows a whole lot about the charter system besides the teams. Like even NASCAR personalities like Dave Moody on Sirius XM, like you ask him a question about charters, he's like, I have no idea how the business works. But from the research I've done and what I could gather, it's kind of a double-edged sword, like you said, like you were saying, Eric, where like, it kind of pushes these smaller teams to not be able to run. Like anyone can go out and try to get into the Daytona 500, right? But if you don't qualify and you don't have owner's points, you're probably not going to get in. The charter guarantees you a show and you get into all those races. Like a great team to look at is the Xfinity series and Jordan Anderson, right? Jordan Anderson Racing, small team from the truck series, expand to Xfinity. He needed to qualify the car at Daytona because he didn't have any owner's points to keep him going. Well, Daytona qualifying got rained out, so now he has to wait for the next qualifying session, which I think was at Coda, like months and months later. Now, any Cup Series team with a charter, they're automatically guaranteed to run in the Daytona 500 if they qualify on speed or not. And then there's openings where you could qualify on speed. The reason and the value for the charter and what makes it great is it gives value to a race team that might close. So like Starcom back in the day, they would sell their chassis and all that stuff for literally pennies on the dollar. They might sell $1 million race team for like $50,000 in assets and all that stuff. Now you have a charter that's going to retain its value. You know what I mean? So
yeah. That is a good thing for like, if you don't, you gave it your, you gave it your all. Like, you did all you can, and now it's not going to work out. But you still invested in NASCAR. You still invested in our sport So we're going to kind of give you a kickback for at least trying to give it a go with us and represent our sport. Yeah, I could see that being a good thing.
Exactly. So now if your team does fold, you still have this charter that it seems to be constantly going up in value, and then you sell your assets off, like kind of like Chip Ganassi did. Chip Ganassi could have closed down in 5 years and sold off everything for pretty much nothing, but they sold it to Justin Marks and Trackhouse Racing for a nice chunk of money because they have the charters, they have the building, they have all that asset. So it is a double-edged sword, though, because then you get those smaller teams not be able to join because they might not have the money. You look at like a Junior Motorsports who would like to expand the Cup, but he can't afford his charter right now, so it sucks. But I mean, that's the nature of the beast. That's capitalism, I guess, that's the sport we're in, so I don't know. Makes it interesting though. We'll see what Spire does with that Starcom charter. I'm surprised Starcom had a charter to begin with. You'd think they would be a team that'd be leasing them out, but anyways, that's enough. Oh, that's enough
Charter
about Starcom.
talk. Did you black out there for a second?
I did. I did. Oh man, let me see, where are we at? Dave,
Wait, you're sweating after that. Holy
I am. Oh man, this charter talk gets me hot. What's that? Hey, we start talking numbers. Let's see. So speaking of Junior Motorsports, some news out of there. The crew chief for Noah Gragson, Dave Ellens, will not be returning. That was confirmed by Noah during an interview this past weekend. Rumor is he'll be moving to the Richard Petty Motorsports team, and he'll be crew chiefing for Eric Jones. Not confirmed, but that seems to be the rumor on the streets, and I'm going to take that as probably what's going to happen.
Confirmation, yeah.
So that should be interesting for you, Eric, to watch your boy with a new crew chief in 2022.
Don't like it.
What's that?
I don't like it.
You don't like it? Why not?
No, you're with the new team. You went all year with him. You developed a little bit of camaraderie and a little bit of knowledge. Now to go to a new crew chief, it just seems like this year was just a wasted year as far as growing together and learning. Now he's got to do it all over again with a new car. So
that's understandable.
Yeah, it's like a young quarterback in the NFL. You come into the league and you have a coach 1 year, he gets fired, you get a new coach the second year. There's no consistency to kind of gain traction, and then your career kind of goes, in a million different directions. So consistency is key. I agree with Eric. I mean, they didn't have and that 43 team with Eric Jones, I mean, they didn't have a bad year for what the expectation was there at all.
Yeah.
So
they actually finished really strong over these playoff 10 races where, he's had, I think, 3 top 10s and, maybe even 5 or 6 like top 15s. And for that's pretty good, big. Especially like gave me a little confidence. Like, hey, if he won a race and you do get in like the shitty people that I'm saying that don't deserve to be there, I would still say that about Eric Jones. Yeah, he won a race. Does he deserve to be there? No. You know what I mean? But looking what he did over those last 10, it was pretty decent for that 43 car. But, a new crew chief, it just seems like, come on, man, like just keep a little bit of,
consistency,
uniformity there and consistency. Yeah.
See, I'm on the opposite end where I'm like, oh, well, he's an Xfinity Series championship winning crew chief, a multi Xfinity Series championship winning crew chief. So, I mean, he's going to.
True. It could be that Richard Petty's going out to try to find something better for him.
Yeah.
Because they know what he needs to do and maybe they could meld. So, yeah, I guess, new car, new crew chief. Maybe it does work out.
You never know. I mean, he's really good at
everything.
I mean, he's good at developing younger talent too. I mean, look at all the guys that came through that 9 car over at Junior Motorsports and what they're doing nowadays. So like even Noah Gragson, I got to give him credit. He's really coming into his own this past couple months. So, I mean, I don't know. If I was an Eric Jones fan, I'd be pretty excited to see what could happen. Let's see. In other news, AJ Allmendinger, one of the veterans of the Xfinity Series, will likely run 12 to 15 Cup races with Kaulig, in addition to his full-time Xfinity Series run. I think that's great. Of course, Justin Haley going to be running the full season for Kaulig Racing in their Cup Series efforts there. I think Matt's dog Chase is weighing in on that. I think he likes the move.
Chase is a big AJ Allmendinger fan, apparently.
Yeah. Speaking of Chase, Chase Briscoe is the 2021 Rookie of the Year. Of course, he was only up against Anthony Alfredo, and we all know how Anthony Alfredo's season has been. And NASCAR has officially broadcasted its last races on NBCSN in 2022. They will be moving over to the USA Network, and it seems like USA Network's going to be kind of rebranding itself into more of a sports oriented channel, which I don't know how I feel about that, because I do love those long Law and Order SVU marathons. I don't know if we're going to get those in between cup races on rain delay days, but I hope we still see Elliot Stabler and Detective Munch and all those guys on Law and Order. I don't know about you guys.
USA, they run some sports on there though. I feel like already, like they.
Well, they run pro wrestling for sure.
Or am I thinking of TNT?
You're thinking about TNT and the NBA.
I think USA had some has some of the March Madness too, when there's like, you know, X amount of games on like the first round.
Nope, that's TBS.
Is it? Oh yeah, it is TBS. I should know that.
No,
I don't know.
USA has the WWE, Monday Night Raw is on there. Of course, they have the Kennel Club Dog Show, which is a huge.
I'm pretty sure Notre Dame had a game on USA Network last year, because USA Network is part of NBC, right?
It is, yeah.
Obviously,
that could have been it.
Pretty sure Notre Dame had a game on USA either this year or last year. I want to say last year.
They also used to show tennis all the time back in the day. I don't know if they still show tennis. I think that got moved over to NBC Sports Network eventually, but I'm sure tennis will be returning. But yeah, kind of switching gears and going towards the sports route. I like I said though, I'll miss some of those marathons. I was a big Modern Family fan too, and they were always good for like 10 episodes right in a row. When you don't know what to watch, you just
sounds like they're begging for some live entertainment.
I think they are. But yeah, that's all there is for the NASCAR news this week. And I don't have a history segment. I was just too busy at work to find any cool history this week. But that just means we got more time to talk about these championship races. So let's get right into it. Of course, the truck race was won by a non-playoff driver. It was Chandler Smith. He was your winner, but Ben Rhodes is your Truck Series champion. What do you guys think about Ben Rhodes, especially Ben Rhodes' post-race interview with some libations? You guys see that one?
So I told you guys on Friday night when he won, I was like, you know what, good for him. That's, you know, I'm just very indifferent about Ben Rhodes. I don't have any feelings one way or another, just because I feel like I don't know who the guy is, you know? Yeah. I just haven't seen him enough or really paid attention enough, I guess, you know, and that's on me. But man, that post-race interview, or not even the post-race interview, the press conference afterwards, once he had a few beers in him, came around. Like if anyone listening to this podcast has not seen that press conference yet, yeah, you gotta do yourself pause us right now, stop listening to us, and go listen to that. It was like an all-time. I think I saw like Barstool Sports retweeted it. Like there was like, it was going around because like Ben Rhodes just won a championship. Yeah. Ben Rhodes just won a championship. He was hammered. He was clearly hammered. He was sitting up there with the Bud Light and he was enjoying himself.
Just loving every minute of life.
I saw a little bit of us up there too, because could you imagine if one of us three won a championship in the national series? We'd be just the same up there.
You want to know what? I actually today at work, I was thinking about that. I'm like, man, if I won a championship race and then had to go give a live interview, like, of course we would be partying. Like if you're listening, like you probably realize by now, we're all pretty big drinkers.
Responsibly.
Like we're big going out guys. We like to go to the bar and kind of just hang out and shoot the shit and everything. But like when the beers start flowing, the shots start going, you know. What's that, Eric?
I said, I don't remember going to bed on Friday night. Yeah. I think I left the fire going in my yard.
There goes the responsible comment I just made. Never mind.
Well, me and Matt responsibly drink, and then we go up to Eric's house. But like, you know. So I was thinking, like, man, I would be in the same exact like mindset. But you want what? I'm real good where I'm like, if I have to put a game face on, I think I could do it. I think I could mask it and be like, yeah, we just we raced our race, we saw our opportunity,
No way,
and
man, no
we
way.
were going through.
He let his personality shine after that, and
He was making engine noises. He's like,
Yeah.
"Bah, bah," going in,
And I think he's got a fan in me from here on out, because that was awesome, man. How could you not feel good for the guy? His life just changed. Like, his life literally just changed.
Absolutely.
In a great way, and he's showing that emotion and celebrating. So good for him.
And
I thought of sorry, Waddy. I always thought of Ben Rhodes as, like you said, Matt. No idea what he looked like, and personality-wise, no idea. But for some reason, the first thing, Ben Rhodes, he's always in the top 5. It seemed like he's always one of those guys that's in contention. And when you look at the leaderboard,
it's like Ben Rhodes and Johnny Sauter are running right next to each other.
Yeah. It's like, it's a name that, like, I'm consistently hearing on the broadcast. So to me, it registers like, oh, okay, that's a deserving champion. I hear his name all the time. He's, been in the Truck Series for quite a while now. And it's like, oh, all right, good job. Good for Ben Rhodes.
Like you said, when I picture Ben Rhodes, I picture that side grid on FS1 and a gray 99 and just the name,
Yeah, dude, I know. It's exactly where my brain went.
Yeah.
It's a unique, gray box with the black lettering.
Yeah. And like in my head too, I'm like, oh, Ben Rhodes, he's like a veteran of the sport. I didn't realize how young he was until I saw him.
When I saw him, I'm going, oh, I had no idea who Ben Rhodes was.
I've been picturing Matt Crafton the whole time.
Yeah. I thought it was some 41-year-old driver that's for him, he won a championship.
But yeah, huge for Ben Rhodes, huge for that team too of Thor Sport Racing, because they had to cut some of their drivers. Grant Enfinger, right? I think he was cut down to like a part-time schedule with them because they couldn't really get the funding for him and stuff.
In the championship race, didn't they?
What's that?
They had two contenders, right, Thor?
I think so. Oh yeah, I don't know.
Not in the final race here, but I think they had an opportunity to get a possible 2 trucks in that championship race.
I'll be honest with you.
I know Grant Enfinger.
I know we do a NASCAR podcast, and obviously we love this sport, but I don't pay enough attention to the Truck Series. I do when I have time, but I don't set aside time for it like I do the Xfinity.
I know what you're talking about.
I keep up with it. I follow it. What's going on? Obviously, if I'm around and the race is on, I'm obviously going to tune in. But I just don't keep up with it as much as I probably should. With that being said, it often produces some of the best racing we see all weekend. So, Ben Rhodes, it's a name now that's on everyone's radar. And I expect good things coming out of him in the future. Like you guys said, he seems like he's always in a top 5, top 10 position anyway. So, and with the personality like that, I'm sure sponsors are looking at their chops to get a hold of him. So I think the future's probably pretty bright for him.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat with you. We're just following it. It's too time consuming. In 2019, I watched every single truck race. And like you said, they are usually the most exciting of the weekend. But 3 days of NASCAR is tough when you got some chores and stuff to do.
When life gets in the way, it's hard.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I was working while listening to the race on Friday. A race I did see though, Saturday night under the lights. My boy Daniel Hemric, first win ever, got himself a championship in dramatic fashion, coming to the line, the bump and run for a championship. Can't beat it. What'd you guys think about Saturday night's race?
That is exactly how you go and win a championship. Like, that's how you go grab one. Like, he got into Austin Cindric, but it wasn't
dirty.
He didn't wreck him. It wasn't dirty. He did what he needed to do to just inch him out at the line there. And that's what you have to do to go win a championship. I think that's textbook we always talk about, obviously our show is called the Bump and Run Podcast. That's how you do it and make it look clean as something like that could be. And Hemric knew it's now or never. He's got to go do it. And he may never have another opportunity like that again. You don't know.
No.
And he seized the moment and he got it. So, I mean, again, kudos to Hemric. That was awesome.
Yeah, listening to those crew chiefs pump their drivers up, I thought was just it was amazing to listen to and to hear the focus in the drivers, getting that information radio to them, like, okay, here it is, hammer down, you know what to do.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, damn, like, because you do put yourself in the seat of that car and you're like, okay, what if I am in that seat? What if I'm being told, okay, this is it, as I'm warming those tires up, getting ready, like, this is it. This is what your whole life is in this moment. And Hemric, he did what he had to do at the highest level that he possibly could and made it look good without going over the top. Like, all the media personalities were like, that was the quintessential. I know that word gets tossed around in our sport a lot. That was quintessential racing for a championship and like racing clean. And like, I don't think, and obviously you saw it, that wasn't going to happen on like, in the middle of the race, a move like that. But last corner, last lap, championship, got to do what you got to do. And I loved, the 22's response afterward too. He knew, that it was everything about it was just honestly picture perfect.
Checkers or wreckers, you're going for it.
It was like out of a movie. Like when you see a racing movie and
you almost
hero,
don't believe it.
The hero of the movie wins just like that, edges out the guy that he's racing in the last turn of the last corner because he put a fender into him and he just barely won the race. And here we are, like it was a picture perfect movie ending type of win for Daniel Hemric. It was awesome.
Yeah, it really was that like Cinderella story to an ending of a season and a career with Joe Gibbs Racing too. He of course he's going over to Colleague Racing for the Xfinity Series next year. We'll see what he can do over there. I mean, they have strong equipment. Maybe he could run for another championship over there.
I have no doubt in my mind that they can do that because if you've been paying attention to the Xfinity Series this year, it's been Junior Motorsports, Joe Gibbs Racing, and Colleague Racing.
Yeah.
Like Colleague Racing has really come to the table as far as being a real force in that Xfinity Series. So yeah, I have no doubt that Hemric can get his way back to a championship next year too.
And here's the thing: now you have that weight off your shoulders too. Like that got me choked up at the end as they crossed the line. And his crew chief and spotter were in his ear, like, "You'll never have to answer that question again." Like even just think about it, it gives me chills because like I'm sure that's been weighing on him for years now. Like he lost this Cup Series ride. He goes back, runs part-time for Junior Motorsports, still can't get that win. Gets a chance at Joe Gibbs Racing, apparently under like a real terrible contract where he only got paid if he got in the top 5 or better. So he's literally racing to feed his family every week.
I'd say that motivated him though. Like I did
absolutely.
Hear an interview say, you know what? Yeah, it might not have been
you bet
the most
on yourself.
thing, but it was what he needed, that extra push. When everyone talks about, oh, what is that extra little mile you need to go? That extra little shove to actually do something and to get the best out of you or your team. And he kind of admitted in a way that was that extra push for him to excel and get over that hump of not winning a race. And not only did he not just win a race finally, that one race he won was for a championship. So that was just, Whitey, I agree with you. I did get a little emotional too, a little bit inside. I'm like, damn, like good for that guy. Like good for him. Because you could tell, when someone's truly excited and being a real person. And, you get that from both Ben Rhodes and Hemric there. You could tell that it meant a lot to both of them.
Oh yeah. I had my old RCR Daniel Hemric, number 8 t-shirt on all day long. I was real happy about that win. Sunday though, the big show, the Cup Series. The champion we all assumed would do it, but none of us picked in our picks last week. Kyle motherfucking Larson Young money indeed. What a season. We'll talk about it in an episode later on. When it comes during the off season, we'll keep doing some episodes. The one I want to do though is the worst takes of all, and one of my worst takes of all time.
Whoa.
I have to admit it right now.
Tease it.
Has to do with this, but we'll talk about it in 2 weeks from now on the podcast. So you have to listen. But no, Kyle Larson, man, he did something I didn't think he was gonna do. Not only did he go out and win the 7th or 8th race back in a cup car.
No, it was like I think like the 3rd or 4th
was
race.
It 3rd or 4th?
Yeah.
I can't even remember. It's been a long season, and then he goes on to win 10 races and a championship. Absolutely amazing. Generational talent. Undeniable. Yeah. Kyle Larson, 9 cautions for 51 laps, 18 lead changes among 7 drivers. Your top 5 for Sunday's race, of course, Kyle Larson, Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, and Chase Elliott rounding out the top 5. Fellas, what was your race grade?
I'll dish mine out. You want to go, Matt?
No, I was just going to say, you can definitely go, but before we do that, I just wanted to crack open the nice crisp Polar 100% natural seltzer. This week, I'm coming at you with orange vanilla. Just a delicious, refreshing drink here to wet the palate before we get into the rest of the race weekend here. Go ahead, Eric.
That sounds delicious.
Race grades brought to you by Polar.
That's raspberry lime that Eric's drinking. I tell you what, earlier on today, I was at my day job. A little side story. I went to the supermarket on my lunch break, and I have a little mini fridge on my desk. It fits 6 cans, and I was getting a little low, so I stopped in the Polar section. I got myself some limes, some delicious lime Polar. And the thing about Polar that blows my mind, they have the coldest cans. Eric, you told me about this years ago, but I pulled those cans straight off the shelf and I picked them up, and inside that box, they were icy cold. I couldn't believe it.
I don't know. Their can technology is like no other. It will keep your Polar and your seltzer refreshingly cold for hours. You
don't need a koozie when you have a Polar, but you do need to give your race grade. So, Eric, what did you give the Phoenix finale out in the desert there?
I gave it, it was championship race and whatnot. I'm giving it what I thought it was, and I'm giving it a B+. It was just okay for a championship race. We knew that Phoenix produces what it produces, and so we kind of knew what kind of racing we were gonna get in a way.
Yeah.
But the beginning, it started out kind of slow. Second stage, you kind of realized what was going on as far as adjustments and what teams' plans were. And in that second stage, once you found out that it was pretty much HMS on short runs versus Joe Gibbs on long runs, I kind of checked out, because from that point forward, you knew what it was. And now you're just waiting to see when and how early or late a caution is, because that was going to determine the race. I didn't like that about it, because then I was waiting for that caution to either piss me off or make me excited, and it kind of didn't do either.
Yeah.
There were a couple that kind of was like, oh shit, what's going to happen now? But overall, I just, it was okay. There was some good racing. There was some good battles, but like, as far as a championship race went, it was just like a B+. It was okay. Like, I think, I don't know. I think I said this earlier in the text messages. Like, to me, like, it just seemed like Larson was already my champion.
Yeah.
So I was kind of already in the mindset, even if Larson didn't win that, he was still my champion.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. It was okay. It was good racing. The end was there was a little bit of drama, but I gave it a B+.
All right. How about you, Matt? What'd you give it?
Yeah. I gave it an A-, but it could have easily been a B+ as well. It was a championship race. It was, it was a 1-race deal where, all 4 of the championship guys each showed a little bit. So like they all had something. Like at any point during that race, you could have talked yourself into, okay, this is why I think Martin Truex is going to win this race. This is why I think Denny or Chase or Larson is going to win this race. They all had their moments. The JGR guys obviously had the long run cars. I mean, there were some times where Dennis would be a straightaway back on a long run, and towards the end of that long run, he'd be challenging for the lead because he just had a better long run car. You knew if it came down to a late restart that Kyle Larson was going to take off with it because that's what he's done his whole career in any machine he gets in. I think it was one of the NBC guys. I don't know if you guys watched the post-race coverage at all, but I did because I took it in just because, it's the last race of the season and I wanted to take in as much of it as possible. And I forget which one of those guys said it. Might have been Kyle Petty. Said that Kyle Larson's been winning A mains his whole career, his whole life, right? Well, that last restart was like the A main. Yeah. He got that launch, he got out front, and he never looked back. There was some good racing in there. I think we've all been pretty vocal about how we feel about the racing at Phoenix. Not the biggest fans of it. I've got something for Phoenix coming up in a little bit that really ticked me off this weekend. But the racing itself, it's just, I'm not the biggest fan of that track. I know we're going back there one more year next year for 2022 in the championship, and I hope to see it get moved around somewhere else. I just think there's other tracks that produce way better racing than that track does. But with that being said, we had our standards pretty low going in, and I think Phoenix probably exceeded that a little bit. So I got to give them credit for that. But an A-. It is what it is. Congratulations to Kyle Larson. I mean, you want to talk about a deserving champion. We absolutely got that this year in Kyle Larson. So all props goes to him. But just the race as a whole, A-. If it wasn't the championship, I probably would have given it, maybe even just a B or B-.
Yeah. See, I took something you said there and I ran with that part where I went in with low expectations. Because like we've said, all of us aren't really fans of Phoenix and the racing it produces. So I took that and I go, well, I got to give it an A then, because I really enjoyed the race. That first stage I thought was awesome. Especially the battles. Like you could throw a blanket on the top 5 during that first stage. They were just swapping for the lead. It was so much fun to watch. But yeah, then there was that second stage lull where I was like, oh, here it is. You get into clean air and you kind of, it just, like you said, long runs, it was the Gibb cars. Short runs, it was Hendrick. For the longest time, I couldn't really tell who was the dominant car. I think Martin Truex Jr. actually had the best car of the day, maybe. Because there's a little bit there where Kyle Larson was fading back. I think even on that last pit stop, he went in like 5th or 4th or something. And then he came out in first, thankfully, because of his pit crew, So without that pit stop, I mean, I don't know, would Martin Truex Jr. be the champion today?
Martin admitted that clean air was really big there at Phoenix. Getting out there in the front and getting that launch and being able to get out there, it really, really helped. So, losing that in that last sequence of pits there, getting jumped, losing essentially 3 spots there was just just what it took to win a championship and to also lose a championship there. And I guess it was exciting, to see that. But for me, like up until that point, the battles for the lead, they were there, but like I don't know, it just wasn't. It just the thing that I think scared me the most, like that got me like the most, like ooh, like that wasn't a restart or a round of caution, was honestly. I think it was I might have actually written it down. 30 laps in when Chase almost gets fucking loose and take out Larson. Did you guys notice that? See that?
Oh yeah. He got into the back of him. He bent.
No, before that. No, I know
really?
what you're talking about. Yeah, I think he was coming. I think he was coming into 4.
30 laps in.
Yeah.
Really?
Chase lost his car
up the racetrack, and he almost got into. He would have literally took out Larson, took himself out, and that would have been the end of HMS.
Handed championship to Gibbs. Wow.
I know what you're talking about because I looked at Steph when that happened, and I told her that I was going to walk out the back and jump off the balcony if he took himself out of contention 30 laps into the race.
Yeah, because I did. I was taking notes. I forgot I was taking notes during the race. Because then I have here.
That was good thinking, Eric.
Lap 165.
It took him 35 races to figure out that he needs to take notes because he does a podcast.
I mean, Matt, I'm not taking notes. I don't see you taking notes. A little look behind the curtain there, show you how prepared we are for this one.
So lap 165 is when he bumped into him again and caused that damage.
That
it actually
fender
helped
flared
him.
out. It really did aerodynamically. It helped him out.
Martinsville ended and it just hit Eric. Oh man, I should probably take notes during these things.
Yeah. Okay, honestly, I just watched the replay the next day and tried to remember stuff, and I write it down to jog your guys' memory. So thank you, Eric. Why don't you send the outline next season?
No, we don't want that. No.
I don't even remember where I was. Oh yeah, I give it an A though. I thought it was great. You guys want to jump into checkers and records?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Matt. Let's start with you for the checkers and records.
So my checkers is going to Kyle Larson because because he won the championship. Ultimately, that's why I'm talking about him right now. But when you're faced with adversity in life and you make a mistake, like Kyle Larson very obviously did last year, there are a few different paths you can take. You can double down and dig yourself a hole, not learn from it, and continue to make these same mistakes over and over again. Or you can learn from it, honestly learn from it, really learn from it. Go and do the steps that NASCAR is requiring you to take and stop there. Or you can go do the steps that NASCAR requires you to take and continue to educate and learn. And that's exactly what he did. And he's a better person for it. Obviously I don't personally know him, but he seems like he's a better person for it.
Yeah.
He took his second chance. He got a second chance in life, really. And he made the absolute most of it. And good on him. That's why he gets my checkers. I mean, he just had one of the best seasons of all time. And Tony Stewart gave him high praise since he won the championship and said that Kyle Larson's the most talented race car driver he's ever seen. And I agree with that. And if that's coming from Smoke, who is probably one of the other most talented race car drivers you've ever seen, that definitely means a lot, I'm sure, to Larson. So he deserves it wholeheartedly. He won 10 races this year. He made the best of a second chance. So he gets my checkers for that reason.
Yeah. And even Tony Stewart, he wanted him for Stewart Haas Racing real bad. Ford wouldn't allow it. Obviously, Rick Hendrick took the chance. Chevy kind of let them back in with Larson and all the steps he took. So, it really just making the best of really second life here in NASCAR. And it doesn't get much better than a championship at the end of that season. How about your records? What was your records for the weekend?
So you guys know what's coming here. We talked about it before we started recording, and I just said in the race grades that I had something for Phoenix Raceway.
Yeah.
So somebody released a picture this weekend. It was a side-by-side of Eldora, speaking of Tony Stewart, of Eldora Speedway's food menu compared to Phoenix Raceway's food menu.
Yeah.
Let me just, for anyone who hasn't seen it over the weekend, let me just run down what Phoenix Raceway's food menu is. So just a couple things that stood out to me here. Fries. French fries. $19.
What? Get the fuck out of here.
$19 for French fries. A burrito. $19.
You want to know, compared to the French fries, it's a pretty decent deal to get a burrito versus fries.
You're right. Nachos. $19.
What?
A cheeseburger with fries, is $16. So riddle me that too, that you can get fries for $19, but if you get fries and a cheeseburger, it's $3 less at $16.
Maybe it's like a big bucket of fries. Maybe they're
I
giving you a
don't
whole
care.
bag of potatoes.
I don't care if you sold me.
Matter. It
I
doesn't
don't care if
matter.
you sold me 30 pounds of French fries. I'm not paying $19 for
That's
it.
true.
At a time, and I think we're going to get into this a little later on, so I don't want to get too far into it and get up on my soapbox here. But at a time where people can really use the help, especially a lot of blue collar NASCAR fans.
Yeah.
You guys know me really well, and I try to take everything with a grain of salt. I try to look at the humor at everything, and pretty much not a lot offends me at all. That was personally offensive to me. How could they get away with that? It's sad. It makes me, I've had my own personal experiences at Phoenix Raceway that makes me never want to go back there. But that's truly sad to see. I don't think that should ever be the case. Whitey, how much did you pay for your chicken tenders at Pocono?
I think it was $7.
Okay. That's such a fair price.
That's what you expect from like an arena type deal. Like, oh, it's like $7, and I got French fries with it. It was like 5 big tenders too.
So not only are they charging those outrageous prices, but they also don't let you bring in your own beer, which is fries for $19. Like that should be a felony.
Yeah. I looked at the menu. That's steak or chicken fries, though. I don't understand what that means, but I think you are getting some protein on there.
Okay.
So it's definitely more than just an order of fries. Regardless, $19 is absolutely outrageous. It should be $9. It should be $9.
Yes. Yeah. And then, like I said, it was put side by side with Eldora's menu. Let me just read a couple things off of Eldora's menu. Let me see here.
Their nachos are $2.50.
Nachos $2.50. A hamburger $3.50. Cheeseburger $4. A hot dog $2.
Chicken tendies $4.50. These are great prices.
We can all agree that those are really fair prices, and that's how it should be across the board.
Like those are probably some of the best like live attraction prices I've seen. You can't even
ever.
Those are really good.
Yeah.
Good on Tony Stewart, man.
Yeah.
He's probably losing money on that deal somehow.
And he probably doesn't care because he's giving back to the fans that keep
they
the
go out
lights
and
on
see dirt
these places.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it wasn't for the fans, us blue collar, hardworking fans that spend our hard earned money going to these races, then they wouldn't be able to put these races on. And it just, like I said, I've already said too much because I think we're going to get into this in the pick line segment.
Yeah.
But it's a shame because you want to bring your family out to enjoy a good time, get some food and everything. You're dropping $100 on a family of 4 just for food and one meal. I mean, that's not okay. So they had to get my records.
I totally agree on that. I'm all about low costs for the working man. You know what I mean? So how about you, Eric? What was your checkers and records for the weekend?
I mean, there's one glaring checker for me, and that was Larson's pit crew in that last stop. I mean,
absolutely lights out.
It just lights out. I mean, 11-8 stop was just insane.
What was everyone else's stops at that point? I think like Martin Truex Jr. had, it was like what, a 12-3.
Yeah,
something like that.
12-4s in there. Yeah,
just to give some reference to everybody else.
And normally, like a 13-1, 13-4 is even a little bit more common. Like 12s happen because some of them lugs weren't getting tightened on there in the championship race. But 11-8 is just as perfect a pit stop as you could do in that situation. Like this isn't just back at the the race facility and you're practicing and messing around and trying to dial in your craft.
Yeah,
this is the
This is the moment.
This is
what you train for, boys. This is it. And
they nailed it. So they deserve every bit of my checkers. You could tell right as they dropped that jack.
They knew.
They knew it.
They were celebrating.
They absolutely that's what I think got me so hooked in and excited for that pit stop was the fact that I don't think I looked at the time until after I looked at the reaction of the crew. I saw the crew and I saw that one guy, yeah. I looked over at the time, I go, oh shit. Like, so
That's
you
insane.
must be able to feel it as a crew member, you know? So that was just filthy, absolutely filthy stop by that 5.
Those guys absolutely know when they just killed a pit stop, when they just nailed it, because they work on it every day. So like they know what a good one. I can only imagine, like, you know, a quarterback when he throws a pass, when he knows that pass is going to get caught because he just threw a beautiful pass.
Yeah.
I think the same with these guys. They just nailed the pit, and then they just, like you said, Eric, they were celebrating, and it was like, wow, that must be an awesome feeling.
Even afterward, MTJ was being obviously interviewed, and you know, he obviously noticed that he lost spots on pit road, and he even said, like, hey, yeah, it was lost on pit road. He goes, but my guys had a killer stop too. Like, it's not that my guys fucked up. Like, he was trying to kind of clear that air. He's like, listen, I don't want to blame my guys for not having a great
stop because they had a great stop. They just got outbeat.
Exactly. So it's like, I did like that at a Truex, kind of not letting his guys just get the, you know, drug through the mud. Like, just because Larson had an 11-8 stop and his pit crew, like, Truex's pit crew had another great stop as well, but like it just wasn't enough, you know. But I liked how MTJ kind of had his pit crews back there.
I want to say
that's competition, man. You give it all, you put it all out there, and you still get beat. At least those guys can go to bed last night thinking, I did everything I could. It just didn't work out this time.
I want to say the guys on the NBC crew said it was the second fastest pit stop all year. Now, I don't know if that was for the crew or for all the crews. I can't remember.
Was that Kurt Busch? Did that Kurt Busch pit stop back in like the middle of the season? Is that still number 1?
I think it was, but I'm not sure.
It was like 11-3 or something like
that.
It was unbelievable. I know we talked about it on this show. Like, that was like the crazy, like that was the best pit stop of all time.
But yeah, like, absolutely lights out pit stop. What about your records though?
My records just goes to just Phoenix. I can't stand that place. My experience there, to be honest with you, 6 years ago, still rings true to me today in this moment where when I was watching those cars go around, I saw that little neon fucking cactus right past
I like that. I think that's neat.
I wish I could give a baseball bat.
Oh no!
We lost Eric. I think he's getting a phone call or something.
Oh my God! Right in the middle of that epic rant, we lost Eric. Eric is back with us. Go ahead, buddy.
Phone call, but yes, that damn stupid neon cactus sign. I would love to give a baseball bat to every driver in that field and go by and shatter that sign into a million pieces. It just the wrong way. That whole racetrack. Like I don't know. I had a bad fan experience. Yep. So it just still lives inside of me there.
We had a really bad fan experience.
Wow.
My dad, Eric, I didn't tell you this. My dad texted me. I think it was like when we were coming back from commercial break or something, when they had like the pan, like they were screening over like the whole racetrack. My dad texted me. He goes, I think I just saw Beer Jail.
Yeah. All right. Man, you guys are brutal for Phoenix. I mean, I wasn't there. I don't understand.
Whitey, if you were there, you would agree with us.
Yeah.
Like we lived through an experience, and like
I get it too because I'm petty. I'll hold stuff like that for a grudge for a long time. So I completely understand. There's bars that I don't go to because I had one bad experience and I'll never go back.
Me too.
Yeah. All right. My checkers and records. Let's get this train back on the track. My checkers, Daniel Hemric, kind of already went into it. The man just never gave up. 30 years old, fighting for his career. Got himself a championship, and we'll see if he can run for another one next year. Of course, Austin Cindric going up to Cup, so he's going to run for the big championship next year. We'll see how he does in the number 2 car. Oh, that reminds me, Matt, your wife is a Brad Keselowski fan. Does she stick with Brad, or is now she an Austin Cindric fan?
No, yesterday was a monumental day in the Reilly household because she's a 2 fan. She's when she was a little girl, I guess she liked Rusty Wallace. So when when Steph and I started dating and she knew I was a big NASCAR fan, I got her back into NASCAR. She said, well, who's in the number 2? And I told her all about, it almost didn't matter. I could have told her, it doesn't even matter. I could have told her whoever was in the number 2, and that's who she was rooting for. So, yesterday marked the last day that my wife is a Brad Keselowski fan, and I could live with the fact that she is now an Austin Cindric fan. For now,
we'll see. We'll see. It's still Team Penske, though.
Yeah.
You at the end, you might be begging her to be a Brad Keselowski fan in the Roush number 6. You never know.
I know. Yeah.
All right. My wreckers goes to John Hunter Nemechek. Not him as a driver or anything, just of the unfortunate situation. Just starting the race, gets kind of put into the wall, thrown 2 laps down, basically fighting to get back on the lead lap and fight through traffic. Just just have an opportunity to get that championship. And just unfortunate because he had a great season. But he'll get to run for a second chance next year, returning to the Truck Series again. And I'm sure they'll have just as good of a season next year as they did this year. Just really sucks for John Hunter Nemechek. We've been singing his praises all season for making that move to trucks, and it sucks that it didn't work out for him championship wise.
It was over pretty damn quick too. It was over like 10 laps into that truck race. Like he was done.
So yeah, just an unfortunate one for him. Kind of the downfall of the playoff format. We might get into that a little bit later, but let's go through some of my race notes here. Like we said, stage 1, amazing. Throw a blanket over that top 5, and it was great to watch. Second stage kind of drug on. Let's see. Larson didn't really have the strongest car of the championship for his pit crew, man. Really saved that one. Truex had a long run car. Denny's car, man, where was Denny? I feel like he really wasn't in the mix.
He was long run only, man. He came on at the end of runs,
but like even longer than MTJ, like long run.
Oh no, yeah, like they were set up for like an 80 lap like finish at the end with no caution. I don't really get what their strategy was there, but he only came on at the very end of long runs.
Yeah, it was interesting though. He was starting to gain on him near the end there, and then of course we got that caution. I wonder what would have happened if that caution never came out. Would he have caught him?
I think Martin Truex would have won if that caution never came out.
I think he would have won too.
Yeah.
I think he had the car to beat all day. Chase had a great short run car though. During those long green runs, kind of killed his momentum. Again, just one of those things. I wonder if practice and qualifying kind of hurt them when it went to like chasing a setup or something like that.
I knew Chase wasn't going to win the championship when the other 3 championship guys got sent into tech for a second time, and Chase got through on the first try.
Yeah,
I knew he wasn't going to win.
He wasn't cheated up enough.
I told you at the end of the episode last week that if he fails tech, he's going to win the race, and he didn't. He got through on the first try. So
yeah. Well, there's always next year to cheat up those Hendrick cars some more.
Back-to-back champions.
Someone who was not cheated up, I don't know what the hell was going on with Corey LaJoie, but he was creating some cautions, first with Bubba Wallace, then with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Usually it's those other 2 causing cautions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what Corey LaJoie was doing, but it did make for some interesting racing. Bubba was real pissed off. Went out onto the apron of the track and was kind of like, giving a round of applause, which I'm sure NASCAR was not happy about because they don't want anyone near the track these days. But it kind of made me laugh a little bit. Those guys have been friends since high school, though. Corey LaJoie used to drive Bubba Wallace to high school. So maybe Corey was just pissed he never paid for gas back then. It's a true story.
Involved in that first spin though, Stenhouse was to the inside of the 7 when the 723 out. So I would imagine that first incident had a little bit to do with the later incident too, involving that 47 car. But
probably,
to me it looked like Corey got a little aggressive, and he was just in the middle, like whether or not Bubba knew or didn't know he was there to give him a little bit of room. Maybe Bubba could have left him a little room and went a little wider there.
Probably.
But it just, not a good look for Corey LaJoie in that 7 car, which I do love the white with the flames, though. That paint scheme.
It's a cool paint scheme. I love the number 7 font and everything. But that's something I've noticed on Corey LaJoie a lot this season. He is very aggressive, almost to the level that Ross Chastain was earlier on in the season, where he kind of steps on people's toes, kind of like where Tyler Reddick was near the end of the season, stepping on people's toes. I feel like Corey LaJoie will be like a lap down and racing real hard with the leaders for some reason. And I just don't get it. I don't know. But yeah, that's all I have for the championship race. Did anything else to you guys stand out at all?
Only other thing that stood out to me, sorry, Matt, that I had written down in my notes from the race here. Was that qualifying did benefit certain people and having practice.
Yeah.
And one of them I thought was Cole Custer.
Running the top 10 most of the day.
Running the top 10 most of the day, qualified up there, and look what that does. Instead of starting 18th or 20th, you qualify up there in P10 and you stay up there in P10. So, it was nice to see qualifying benefiting some of these drivers that maybe need to learn a little bit more and understand what their car and their crew chief wants out of them. And so Cole Custer had a decent day, which for me to notice that was something.
Yeah, got himself a 13th place finish in the end, but he did start 7th. Eric Almirola was another guy that I was really impressed with. He seems to be like a short track sleeper that we probably haven't been paying attention to, that we should have, fantasy wise, but again, he's real hit or miss, especially SHR just as a whole this year has been real hit or miss, but he got himself a 6th place finish. I thought that was interesting.
I think a show honorable mention for Checkers needs to go to one Caitlin Larson, Kyle's wife.
Oh, shotgun and beers.
She still has it with the shock. She could probably put me to shame with shotgun and a beer.
Oh, without a doubt.
That's cool. And then I think I don't remember which NBC. I think it might have been Rutledge Wood interviewed her during the celebration, and he was like, "Oh, what's the beer count?"
Like beer number 5.
She was like, "Well, I had a few up in the booth or up in before the race ended, so I think I'm at like 5." And I'm like, you know what, atta girl, that's how you do it.
All right, that's pretty much everything I got for this week. This week's race. It's what? It's crazy. It feels like a little anticlimactic.
I have a Checkers too.
Okay.
Us. We made it the whole season. I'll give us some Checkers here.
No.
Give a little pat on the back.
I'll take that one step further. I think we need to give a Checkers to everyone who's listened throughout the whole season.
Absolutely.
A humongous thank you to you guys. I know this is corny and cliche, but we see the numbers. We know that people are listening, and we appreciate it a ton, and it drives us, and it's the reason why we want to continue this thing in the off season, and it's the reason why we're going to be back next year bigger and better than ever too.
Absolutely. I gotta give a big old checker flag to everybody who listens, anyone who just enjoys this show and takes us seriously. I really do appreciate. Like Matt said, I see the numbers and I see all over the country and really in different countries people listen. It really does warm my heart every week. So tell your friends.
Feel good. Feel really good.
Yeah. Let's get this bad boy rolling, bigger and better for the next gen car. Like Matt said, we got a lot of ideas down the pipe. I got some production stuff I'm working on and everything. So it's going to be an interesting off season in 2022. Like I said, though, we're switching to every other week. Just to give us a little bit of a break too.
We'll have fun with it too. You'll learn more about us if you don't know who we are and how we got into racing and became fans of the sport. So we have some things for you guys to check out.
We got some stories. I'll tell you how Daytona Ron threw gum in the Stat Man's hair when we were in high school. All sorts of fun, sorts of fun stuff. But man, everyone talks about the winner. Everyone talks about the champion. No one ever talks about the last place, but here on the Bumper Run podcast, we like to highlight the last place driver. We kind of already did. It was Bubba Wallace got taken out of the race early by Corey LaJoie, ended his season about 3 hours earlier than everybody else. know it's a disappointing way for Bubba to go out, but we'll see what happens in 2022. Of course, over 2311 Racing, he's getting a teammate in Kurt Busch. Wealth of knowledge in that guy. I'm just going to assume that he's going to elevate that team, and we'll see some great results. As long as the next gen car rolls off, all right, we'll see. I mean, there's so many unknowns with the next gen car, but
that's what makes it exciting, man.
It is. I'm getting real excited about next gen. I'm getting real excited for Daytona. I'm already thinking about Daytona. I'm thinking about the Clash. I cannot wait for next season.
I'm thinking about stuffing and turkey and gravy.
Yeah. We'll focus on the holidays, and then we'll start getting back into the racing mindset. But
Eric knows.
Just because the just because the season is over doesn't mean that the topics are. I got some pick a lanes for you guys. This is the segment where I give you a topic. You get to choose the lane, the side that you decide on. The choose cone is out. A lot of people dog on this format after seeing the race yesterday. If Kyle Larson did not win, would you still look at any of the other three as a true champion?
Yeah, I would. I mean, everyone knows that Larson was the most deserving, and it worked out where he did win the race and the championship.
Yeah.
But the other four were consistent enough to make it, and that's all you can kind of ask for. You know, it's a tough environment. You're not going to get guys, that are going to win 8, 9, 10 races often. I mean, you had 2 of them last year, and neither of them won the championship. So
yeah.
I think I would have any one of those 3, would have been deserving enough. I mean, you see it in other sports where, like the Giants always come to mind, the New York Giants in football, the 2 championships that they won in the past decade. They weren't the best team by any stretch of the imagination, backed their way into the playoffs and went on a run. Sometimes it's all it takes in sports. That's not to say that we have the most perfect system. I know we've talked about it before where I'm not a huge fan of the win and in rule. I think that's stupid. I think it takes away, not to take anything away from like a Michael McDowell winning the Daytona 500. Great accomplishment. Awesome for him. But I don't think it should lock him into the playoffs, because what did he do the rest of the season? Yeah. Not much. And it took a spot away from other guys who were more consistent and probably deserved to be there over Michael McDowell. So we don't have a perfect system. I don't know what the right answer is. I don't like pointing out a problem without at least having a solution in my head. And I just don't. I don't have a perfect solution. I don't know if really anyone does. But until there is a better solution, we have to kind of accept what we have right now. And to answer your original question, yeah, I think any one of the 4 that made it would have deserved to win the championship yesterday.
How about you, Eric? I know you don't really like this system, the final race 4 system.
No, I mean it's weird because I like the playoff system. Like, I like the whole format. I think it's great because I've learned how to think of it for myself in my own way.
As an entertainment thing.
Yes, I said on the show before, like the regular season champion, I like that they did that. They used to not do that, crown a regular season champion.
Yeah.
And now that they actually acknowledge that, I think NASCAR knows that their chase format is kind of gimmicky in a way where maybe the true best driver all year over 36 isn't going to be the champion. So let's reward a regular season champion, because that is 26 races. That's the season essentially. There, who was the best over that season? So I say, okay, yes, that's my regular season champion. Now you have your chase format champion. Like last year, I do consider Kevin Harvick was the best driver. In my eyes, Kevin Harvick dominated the season.
Yeah.
Chase Elliott, he won the chase.
Yeah.
This year, it so happens, like Matt said, the best driver won both. So not only did Larson come in and win the regular season championship, he went through the gauntlet of what this chase is to get there. The last race, it just, to me, one race to do it all. it's kind of like Matt said, like it's weird because that wasn't Larson's best track. He knows that. You know what I mean? So, like, if that is, you could go to a race, and I know they're going to want to switch it up. Like, what if 3 out of the 4 drivers that make it, that's like a shitty track for them, and like the other guy, it's like,
well,
picking track and going off of one race with those 4 drivers, like, it could be someone's favorite, it could be someone's not. Like, it just seems a little strange to come down to one, but I don't know. I have a different mentality about it, and it's just like, hey, they got Scarlett. That's the championship. He's the champion. You know, I think Truex was deserving. I think Chase and Denny were all deserving. To be honest, I think it went Larson, Denny, Chase, and then MTJ. And MTJ was literally an 11.8 second pit stop away
from being the champion,
deserving driver from being the champion, just because it was the 750 package. And it was where you knew he was going to run well, and Joe Gibbs actually ran better than Hendrick. So I guess it did kind of prove me wrong that Hendrick stepped up and said, I don't care what your record is here. We're going to go out and win this championship.
I just kind of thought about something here where, you know, and feel free to shoot holes in this. Keep everything the same as it is right now as far as the regular season, and then we get into the playoffs, and there's still rounds in the playoffs until you get to the final 4 races. Let's say those final 4 races are for your final 4 drivers, and it's a cumulative point
like a
average
best of 4.
Well,
like baseball.
It's a running cumulative point average. You get 4 different style tracks, 4, you know, different types of, you know, a mile and a half mile, and maybe a road course or another intermediate, you know, whatever. And it's a cumulative point in that last round for those 4 guys, and it's down to those 4 guys for those 3 or 4 races, and that's your champion. I think that might be maybe a closer way of crowning a real champion than a 1 race sample.
Right. That's why they have a best of 5 and a best of 7 series, because they know over 5 races or over 7 baseball games, the better team is going to come out on top. So that's why they have that in other sports, is because they know there could be a fluke 1 game, like you said, Matt, with the Giants there. But if those 2 teams played each other 5 times, the real winner is going to come out of that. So I could see that's not a bad idea, but that's the whole regular season, essentially. You know what I mean? That's kind of the same thing. Yeah. So I kind of like the gimmicky for the chase and the champion, but like, it's all your own mindset on how you want to. You either let it get you mad and pissed off, or you don't. You know what I mean?
Right. That's true.
You just accept it. That's the format we have. It's entertaining. That's it.
I've learned to enjoy this entertainment that they give us. And could you say certain years, this guy, you know what? But at the same time, I enjoy it. But some parts of me still revert back to overanalyzing it, though. And I think that's what people tend to do. And even what we're doing as far as picking, 1 race, 4 this, but just take it for what it is. You know what I mean? Take it for what it is. It's entertainment. And that's because I didn't have a dog in the fight. Like, I don't know if I'd be in Matt's same shoes if, like, I was a Chase Elliott fan saying this right now. But, you know, I think not having a dog in the fight helped me to look at it differently. So it helped me kind of step away from my own emotional decision making after a race or a format, and just looking at it as a whole.
Sure.
No, I agree, and we could go over different points, formats, and stuff. We could do a whole show on it in the off season if you guys want to try to figure out some sort of interesting playoff system that's a little bit more fair, kind of rewards consistency a little bit more. But people love to talk about the old Winston Cup point system. So I've been paying attention. There's a guy on YouTube, The Iceberg. He has a big YouTube channel. And on his community tab, he's been keeping track of the Winston points. And up until Martinsville, Denny's been in first the whole time without wins. You know, like, so even though Kyle Larson had all these wins, he still wasn't as consistent as Denny Hamlin was with just 2 wins early on in the playoffs and stuff. So, and it's also how you race those tracks and everything. Like you said too earlier on, Eric, you know, if a track kind of favors a guy, that used to be the argument for Kyle Larson when he was at Ganassi for so long. It was like, oh, well, if he can make it to the championship 4 at Homestead, you know, he could win his championship, you know? So like, I mean, it's tough. It's like in baseball where every stadium's different. Every track is different in racing, you know, and some teams play better in different stadiums and some drivers have better tracks. There's too many variables, I guess, to give a definitive, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem just with the point system anyways. Like, no matter what you throw, someone's going to make an argument for why this guy should have been the champion over this person regardless.
Right.
You know? Like
even this year, you would think that it would be a unanimous. Everyone with a brain and like a nice head on their shoulders would say the right guy won the championship. But there's absolutely people out there that are making arguments for why.
I just made an argument for Denny Hamlin.
Right.
You know.
Right. So you're never gonna get a unanimous, you know, perfect answer.
Yeah, last year, you know, people would say like, oh, Kevin Harvick, he should have been the champion, but you can make the argument Denny Hamlin should have been champion, you know, like all sorts of stuff. Even Eric, you said like, oh, I consider the regular season champion the true champion, and then the playoffs are entertainment. For up until I think the last race at Daytona, Denny Hamlin was the regular season champion, or maybe it was at the Indy Road Course. Something like that, where it lost him the regular season championship.
Briscoe took that away because if he won that race, he was most likely going to do it. Briscoe doesn't do that.
Yeah,
he is the regular season champ. You know,
so like there's even argument for that. Where like, well, Kyle Larson won so many races in the regular season. How's Denny Hamlin the regular season champion? He didn't have a win at that point. You know, like. You can make arguments either way.
I value consistency over wins because, you know, look at the final race standings and, you know, you try to figure out where your driver ends up and you see like an Alex Bowman who has 4 wins, but he's still like 16th or something in points.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, so like, okay, he has 4 wins, but he's still 16th. Like what that means he kind of got lucky on the last lap and led that one that was the most important one, you know, but in the other majority of those races, he kind of faltered a little bit. Yeah. So I don't put a lot of emphasis like I think the NASCAR world does on wins. I don't think wins are as important and detrimental to a season as some of these NASCAR media personalities and what NASCAR wants the fans to believe.
Man,
Alex Bowman was 14th in points.
I was just gonna say that's crazy.
Were you looking at the points difference between him and Reddick right now? 10 points difference. And didn't Bowman lose points, or was that just Chase Elliott? Did they both lose points because of that motor swap in the middle of the season?
I mean, obviously Chase lost points. I would assume that Bowman also lost points in that ordeal.
I think Bowman lost some points in that deal too. I was just going to say,
I mean, Bowman was tied for second with most wins in the whole season at 4 wins, and he finished 14th in the standings.
Yeah.
That's a little wild. Right. But that also just goes to show you as well how unbelievably inconsistent Alex Bowman has been all season too.
Well, he's
yeah.
Consistency could be mashed up into mechanical failures.
Yeah,
could be you know, accredited to a lot of other things.
You got taken out at Daytona, you know.
Right. So that's motorsports. That's racing. So that's why, like, as much as we want to and we could speculate a format, you're only going to get so far until you come into another problem that is the same problem you had previously, where we're not like other sports, like Matt said. There's way too many variables as far as different racetracks, different cars, different stuff that could happen, a wreck that's out of your hands that go into that. So I think it's kind of as polished up as pretty much as it could be right now without creating another problem. Like, I'm fine having it the way it is with the problems we have. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you're always going to have that one problem.
There's always going to be an issue. There's not a perfect way to do it. Yeah.
Speaking of problems, does NASCAR have a fan experience problem at the track? I put the choose cone out. You can choose the lane you want to pick in. Yeah. Do we have an issue with fan experiences at NASCAR tracks? We kind of touched on it with the menu at Phoenix and the lack of coolers and whatnot. You guys want to chime in on that?
I don't think it's just NASCAR. I think it's live sports in general, man. I would, as much as I love going to races, going to games, love the experience. I think everyone should do it at least once in their life, if not once a year in their life. You know,
yeah.
I'm at a point now where I would almost rather sit at home or sit at the bar with my buddies, and there's no long lines to the bathroom. There's food and beverage all accessible right there. You don't have to wait in long lines. You're not spending whatever it might be, tickets included, $1,000 over a weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a live sport problem, not just necessarily a NASCAR problem.
TV coverage is too good.
That's the other thing. You know, you get so much information fed to you now.
Nothing beats the track experience, though. I feel like it's otherworldly. You know,
it is. NASCAR is different as far as that goes, and NASCAR also does a good job with video, TV screens and whatnot to provide you as much information as possible, because when you're watching a TV broadcast at home, you just get so much information that makes the race that much more enjoyable. You know what pit strategies are. I mean, look at us with Pocono this year. Unless we were listening to the radio, you know, the actual radio communication, it was kind of hard to understand who was doing what and what pit strategies were going on.
I find out with most road courses, though, and Pocono is not a road course, but it's treated like a road course. I always get thrown off with various pit strategies. I get so confused.
That's when the broadcasts happen. And I mean, you know, the engines are so damn loud. You can have the radio running,
barely hear it.
Yeah, but you can't hear it. So there's different. I mean, I don't want to take away. I love going to the track. I want to take as many opportunities as possible. I don't want to deter anyone from going to racing, to racing events, because it is an otherworldly experience, like you so eloquently put it, Whitey. But it's I don't know. What do you guys think? I've talked for too long on this.
Well, I think from, you know, going to races since 2011 consistently, multiple races a year, actually, I feel like a pretty good hold on what a NASCAR race is going to bring. And I hear a lot of callers on some of these things. And the first thing Moody or something says, well, get to a racetrack. Oh, have you been there? Are you going, or are you sitting on your couch? And I get mad. I'm like, I'm going there. I am one that actually does support my sport that I love. And I go to these racetracks and I visit there, and I've just seen them go downhill from 2011 till now. Yeah. I thought, I'm talking like the fan experience where the haulers are to buy the t-shirts, to do that kind of stuff. That's great. You know, that's going to be at every track, but I'm talking about bring the Thunderbirds, bring a jet in there, be able to look at that, you know, have things where you could practice doing the pit car stuff. Let me engage in a few more things. I know Busch does a little things like that with some of their displays that I've seen. I know at Daytona, Busch has a really nice fan engaging thing that they have set up on the outside.
Yeah.
And when Monster took over, I got a little excited for that fan experience to come back, because that first year, holy smokes, was awesome. And I was telling everybody about it. I'm like, they have motorcycles, dirt bikes, doing backflips, trucks, jumps, this, that, hot chicks tossing this out. Monster, they went all out for the fan experience. Yeah. And I enjoyed it. I loved it. It was awesome. But guess what? That lasted all but 1 year.
And then it's gone.
And then I think Monster's like, wait a minute. We're putting all this money in. We thought there was going to be way more people here, way more engagement. I don't think Monster was getting out of what they were putting in.
Yeah.
So they really had to dial back their bankroll as far as what they were bringing to these race shows and entertainment on the fan experience side on the outside. And is that all Monster Energy's fault? No. Is it some of NASCAR's? Maybe because at that time the fans weren't there yet. I feel like if Monster Energy brings that back now
Then
that we have
then the
last couple
people are
years,
there to see it.
a bigger fan base, now would be the time to bring some more of that stuff. That's what I'm more talking about as far as fan experience. Like, give me a little bit as a race fan. I want to feel surrounded by NASCAR. I don't want to feel surrounded by t-shirt, vendors and hot dog stands. You know what I mean? I want to be immersed in the sport. Give me more stuff that has to do directly with the sport. So I don't know.
I will say this. You can do a NASCAR weekend for relatively cheap, or not, not cheap, but just inexpensive. I mean, if you just want to take your family of 4 out to a race for a 1-day event, you can do it, for probably under $300 or $400 for a whole family. Because for most tracks, we're not talking about Phoenix Raceway, but for most tracks, you can bring a cooler in with food and beverages and whatnot.
Yeah.
You can do it the right way.
What was it? During Pocono, I went on Groupon and I got a family 4-pack of tickets. It was 2 adult, 2 children tickets. I didn't have children. I didn't need them. But the price for those 4 were cheaper than just a pair of regular adult tickets. So I went with that. Why not? And it was like significantly cheaper through Groupon. I think I saved like $50, something insane.
Oh, right. Because you were meeting your girlfriend there because we were in the infield and she was going to the grandstands.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha. And I wanted to do a day in the grandstands anyways. I love going over there, checking out the grandstands and everything. So I did that. And, it worked out perfectly, and it was cheaper. So there are ways to go to a NASCAR race and experience it on the cheap. And like you said, bring a cooler, bring in your own food, bring in your own drinks. Come to Pocono. I think Pocono has a great fan experience. Could it be better? Absolutely. But I feel like Pocono also is constantly striving to make their fan experience better.
I'll also say this. I mean, we are huge infield guys at Pocono. We love doing it. It's not the cheapest route to go, admittedly, but you get bang for your buck there. I mean, we get 2 or 3 live concerts every night that you're in there. Every night of the weekend, they throw a live concert together, which is amazing. There's food and drink vendors in there. It's a really, really great experience.
It's just the vibes,
and it's the vibes of being there too. And I will say this as well, and I'll let you guys talk about it, is the NASCAR fans. There's nothing like them, man. You go to a New York Jet football. I'm a huge Jet fan. If you go to a New York Jet football game, the fans are fighting each other.
Yeah.
At a NASCAR event, Whitey, your car died, and some person,
the people across the way gave us heavy duty jumper cables.
Never met our entire lives. They owed us nothing and they helped us out just because we're NASCAR fans and so are they. So there is that community feeling.
They busted my balls about it pretty hard though. They didn't relent. Okay. They go, it's because you were in and out of your car all day yesterday. You drained the battery. I go, well, you're goddamn right, I did. But no, what was it?
I will say Pocono is a great fan experience. They do try to do the best that they can for the campers on the infield and on the outside. And
it's a family owned and run track too. They're on a smaller budget. And this is
the hot dog eating qualifiers there.
Oh,
too.
the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. I always want to try that one too.
I saw the King eat a hot dog, dude, because the King came out the one time there to announce
like the MC.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You got to watch Richard Petty eat a hot dog. That's the most American thing I've ever heard of in my entire life.
What I was going to say though, and the reason why I brought this question up, I can't remember where I heard it originally. Matt, did you listen to Dale Jr. last week?
I only got about 20 minutes in. No,
I don't know if it was the Dale Jr. download. I don't know if it was SiriusXM. I don't know if I read it on Twitter or if I read it on Reddit or something. But somebody was talking about the fan experience at track and how the downfall now is the promoters don't need people to come to make their money. They make so much money off the TV deal and the revenue from television that it's almost an incentive to not pack the grandstands. And I forget what it was. Maybe it was Steve Phelps himself. They were talking about like new schedule and looking to the future and 2035. I think it was YouTube's Eric Estop, Out of the Groove. Check out his channel. He has a fantastic channel. I think maybe he was talking about it. How the television gives the track so much money, where SMI mainly, who I'm pretty sure they own Phoenix too, right? Do they? I don't know.
I don't know.
Where like they kind of let their tracks kind of go with the fan experience. You know, Texas and Charlotte and all those.
Own now. You know what I mean?
Where they don't have to put a whole lot in to the amenities and all that stuff. And that's why
Steve Phelps came out and said in the State of the Sport address this past weekend that Texas took a major step back for our sport because it was embarrassing the lack of support they got from the fans there.
I think this is where it all stemmed from, was from the Texas weekend. And a lot of people, I know Eddie Gossage was a very polarizing track promoter, but a lot of people were like, I'm not coming back, since he retired in the summertime. And people are saying it's because of the TV money. You have that lack of trying from the track promoters. And that's what it
feels like. That's kind of what I was trying to get. Like from 2011 till now, right, it does feel like they're just not trying anymore.
And that's why I know we're all homers for Pocono, but I think that's why Pocono does it so well, why they're trying to constantly improve, because they're not owned by NASCAR. They're not owned by SMI. They're an independent track, and they're trying to stay on the schedule, and they want the fans to show up. And thankfully the fans do show up, but we need more. Yeah. We always need more, though. You know, you can never go without more fans, you know?
I've got a close source that has told me recently that they spoke with someone high up at the Pocono racetrack.
Mm-hmm.
That person,
I talked to the same source the same day you did.
That person said that Pocono knows that they're the odd man out, that the industry doesn't necessarily like coming up there for whatever reason, which
like the redheaded stepchild, which
to me says that that's why Pocono's experience is so good, because they know that they have to put on a good show for the fans and for the industry as a whole when they come up into town, because they don't want to be that redheaded stepchild. They want to get that stigma of Pocono, that bad stigma of Pocono off and show them what they can really do there. That's why I think Pocono is a great experience. But again,
absolutely.
We're homers, so.
But you want to what? I hear that from people that come from all over. When you experience Pocono, it's different from watching on TV. I think that's the problem. People watch on TV and they're not impressed, or they don't appreciate the type of strategy racing that Pocono puts on. I love it. I think it's great. I think people need to look at it as a road course.
You also nailed it too, Whitey. Like, I think like NASCAR's going in a direction where they want TV. They want people to tune into TV, but they also want people to go to a race.
Show up at the track. So you have to give them a reason to come to the track.
Right. So you have to pick one or the other here. Like, what do you want? Like, do you like, and I feel like the fans though, too, these new fans are more TV fans rather than go to the racetrack fans.
Yeah.
So like a lot of the people you hear on Twitter and stuff, and some of these fans with these kind of weird, crazy kind of mentality, mindset on certain subjects about race package and this and that. They're TV fans, I think. To me, they're now considered TV fans, where it's like, okay, yeah, you could dissect all you want by watching what you see on TV. But until you go to the racetrack and experience the racetrack there and be raced there and watch it there and maybe get a little insight from an old head that knows about this. Because you learn at Whitey, even me.
You learn so much every time you go to a race.
I'll meet somebody that knows way more than I do. Yep. And that's where I get my knowledge. I get my knowledge through experience and talking to people at the racetrack. Like, I'm not going to Google and go into this and look at that for my knowledge. I'm more of a hands-on. I'd rather listen to some stories. I like the podcast, like you're saying, like the Dale Jr. deck. I'll listen to some of those. That's where the knowledge comes from. Yep. That's the people of the sport. And you don't get that sitting on your couch watching at home on TV. You just don't get that.
No. And the great thing about being at track, and this, like, I can't stress this enough, you get to see all the races. Because when you're watching on TV, you might see the race for the lead, you might see the race for fifth, You're not seeing the battle between Cole Custer and somebody in 17th place. And that might be one of the more fun battles to watch, you know, and that's what I love about Pocono too. You see those mid-pack battles at Pocono, but you might not see them on TV. You know, that's why you have to go to the track, especially like a short track. Like you go to Martinsville, you're seeing a completely different product in person than you are on television. You know?
Yeah, Bristol. I mean, when we went to Bristol a few years back, I mean, I was already a huge NASCAR fan, and that just changed my outlook on it so much because just like you just touched on, Whitey, if you find one battle that you're really interested in that they probably aren't showing on the broadcast, it never leaves your view. You can watch it the entire time. And you know, I always encourage anyone who's never been to a race to get to a short track of Bristol or Martinsville because it's going to change your life. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you have the opportunity to see any NASCAR event live, definitely go. Go out, support the tracks. They definitely need
Form
it.
your own opinion. Yeah.
Form
your own opinion.
You know, and you want to what? I want to know what your guys' opinion are in the comments. Hit us up on the YouTube page or hit us up on Twitter or our Facebook page at Bump the Letter N Run Pod. That's all I have for Pickle. I mean, I got one more. Should we stay in Phoenix for the championship race? If we can't move it around to multiple ones, do you think that Phoenix had a decent enough race to keep it going for at least another year or two?
I mean, we are going back there next year, but after that, I would like to see them rotate around, even if it's only a rotation of 4 or 5 tracks because of weather.
Yeah.
I would like to see them keep on a steady rotation every single year, never go back to the same track twice in a row.
Okay. How about you, Eric? I know you don't like Phoenix, but are you happy with the championship race?
Fine. I like that idea. You pick 4 and you keep them in rotation. So like it never gets stale, but you still get quality racing out of it.
All right. And with that ends the Pickle Lane segment. Of course, the season has just ended, so we don't have a race next week. But the next race we will have is the Busch Clash. We're heading to Los Angeles to the LA Coliseum February 6th. And I've got some picks from this past week for us to go over. So in Phoenix, I picked Martin Truex Jr. to win. That got me 35 points. Matt picked Chase Elliott to win. He got you 32 points. So you pick first. I pick last. Denny Hamlin got Eric 34 points. Of course, I'm joking about the picks for the Clash. If you guys want to pick for the Clash, I don't know.
No. We can revisit this conversation in February.
We will. So to review our picks for the season, I am the season champion in picks. I have 5 wins on the season. I think every time I picked Kyle Larson, Martin Truex Jr., and I did have one Denny pick for Darlington. He got me that win. I got 1,247 points in second place. Eric got himself 2 wins and a couple DNFs that kept you out of the running for the championship. Blaney got you 1 point in Kansas. Oof, that was a rough one. Kyle Busch got you 2 points in Darlington. Not a great postseason for you when it came to the running for the championship, but it got you second place with 1,124 points. And Matt, you came in last. You had 1 win, a lot of DNFs earlier on in the season. You got 1,094 points. I do have to add a little asterisk though to my win, because we did pull a NASCAR switcheroo midway through the season and we changed how we did our picks. Earlier on, the winner got to pick first. Midway through the season, we did the inversion. We did the Pocono doubleheader, and we allowed the loser every week to pick first. I think that really did start evening things out. We'll keep that format next year for our picks.
I also want to say, and this is probably only going to reach about 5 of our viewers because not a lot of people are in our fantasy league, but big congratulations to our buddy Jay. He was our Kyle Larson in our league this year.
Yeah, Jay absolutely
dominated us. He mopped us up, and he deserved his win this year. So congratulations to Jay.
So that reminds me, of course, that was a private league. It was a money league. Jay, the big winner, walking away with a couple $100 in his pocket. So good for him. For next year, for next season, I want to start a bump and run league. It'll be free to join for anyone listening to the podcast. We'll do it on NASCAR Fantasy. live and free to join. I'll set it all up before Daytona coming up in February. We got a lot of listeners. I would love for everybody to join if they can. Absolutely free to play. And maybe we'll add some fantasy segments to the podcast next year to go along with that. That way we could all play fantasy together, because it's a lot more fun.
Maybe the winner can get some show swag, a t-shirt, some stickers.
First place will get a t-shirt and a hoodie. Second place will get a t-shirt. Third place will get some stickers, something like that. We'll figure it out as it goes. But yeah, definitely want to get that going for next season, just to engage with some of the listener base a little bit more. And fantasy is more fun with more people too. It makes it more interesting.
Fourth place wins my dog. You can just have my dog.
Yeah. He was barking earlier on the podcast, so get him out of here. But
get a weekend up the hole with old Ronnie Daytona up here.
Yeah.
You have a bonfire. You have a couple Jim Beams with him. Let's go.
But fellas, I mean, that's pretty much, I think that's all we got for this week. I don't know how to end these now without the next week preview. So what we're going to do next week, or in 2 weeks, we're going to do our worst takes of the season. We're going to do our season review, our season grade, our season checkers and wreckers.
Hey, when's the award show?
I'm not sure.
No. Seriously, the NASCAR.
Yeah, no,
award show.
I'll have to look it up. What's that?
Is it still in Nashville? Is it in
Yeah,
Nashville?
it's gonna be in Nashville this year. The awards banquet.
I think they usually take a week off, or it might even be at the end of this week. I don't know. It's a week or two off they usually take.
November 30th through the December 2nd. So
Okay,
we'll be in a couple weeks.
I was wrong. Okay.
So yeah, we'll break that down. We got a lot of fun stuff coming up this off season. We're not going away. We're just taking a break this week, and we'll be jumping on every other Monday going forward. Like I said, 2 weeks from now, we're going to be giving you our worst takes of the season. Mine has to do with Kyle Larson. Pretty much the worst take you could have ever made early on in a season. Like I said, season review, season grade, season checkers, and then we have a whole bunch of fun stuff we're going to do throughout the off season. And I did the math. Every other week, the podcast will be, that's about 6 episodes. And then we're already coming up on the Busch Clash in February. So the off season gonna fly by. We're going to be with you right here on the Bump and Run podcast. We will talk to you in 2 weeks. Is that after Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving week, I think it is. I don't know. I'll have to look at the calendar.
That's Thanksgiving Monday.
Yeah. So for Matt, the Stat Man Reilly, for Eric at Daytona Ron, I'm Michael D. White saying have a good night. We'll talk to you next week.
Bumping